Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to the Raw Spiel, where we keep it real. Um, and we will continue the series on the real family feud. The number to dial is 941-745-1490. 941-745-1490 to get on the air. Email address is info at therawspiel.com. That's info at therawspiel.com. You're more than welcome to email the show with any questions or concerns, any statements. Just feel free to email us at that email address. Have to bring back with me the pastor of God's Truth and Deliverance Ministry in Bolivar, Tennessee. We have Pastor Bowden back on the line. How's everything going your way?
Everything's going fine. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, all right. Again, like I said, we just go continue on from last last Friday's discussion on the real family feud. And last week, let's do a little brief recap. We was talking about the siblings, how sisters and brothers or whatever, they have a little rivalry going on, and and how it carries on to the next generation when your sisters and brothers have kids of their own. It carries on to them,
Hmm.
and we have seen some examples of sibling rivalries in the Bible with Cain and Abel, and with Jacob and Esau.
Hmm.
And we come to the conclusion, it come down to jealousy.
Hmm.
And some people just, um, you see, jealousy brings on death. And then not today's term, I ain't saying people won't kill you today, but people will kill you with their tongue. And also touched on the feud between a husband and wife, where the wife might want to dominate, might want to be the one that wants to be the head or whatever. But we're gonna focus on the blended family. We might have to do another series, might have to do another episode on this here. I wanted to get into the in-laws, but after last week's show, I got a message, and I know somebody was sharing with me their experience in a blended family, and and I did get their permission to use our conversation, screenshot it, and stream it on YouTube. For those that's tuned in, you're able to read along as I share these screenshots, and and those of you listening online or on airways, or I'll read it to you and give you understanding. Just hopefully this hopefully you're get an understanding. Or just hopefully this personal experience will help you out there, the ones that have a blended family or may be considering marrying someone that has kids of their own. And so yeah, we go get right to it. And again, I do appreciate this person for sharing with me their experience, and again they gave me the green light to share this conversation, and we go. And I want to get started with it, and we go. I want to dissect this message from line to line. And they said this was a really good segment, speaking on the blended family. We grew up being told I never wanted y'all here. Y'all only here because I married your dad. Even until this day, we are introduced as just stepkids. The evil woman told the church that her and my dad only have two children and seven stepchildren. It's shameful. My dad's wife told my children they are just her step grandchildren. Now, I want to dissect this here. Let's start off. We grew up being told I never wanted y'all here. Y'all only here because I married your dad. Now, when somebody say, we grew up country, we grew up eating beans and rice, we grew up picking peppers, whatever. That means that's something that's ongoing. That's something that's been installed in them. So could you just imagine? I think this person might have been maybe 10 years old or so when this happened. No, like I said, this is one of seven. So this one might have been like 10 years old, and they have like two siblings that's a little bit younger, and so they might have been eight, other one might have been six. They had four older siblings, might have been say maybe ranging maybe from 15 to 12 or something like that. So could you just imagine being told that you're not welcome here? You don't. The only reason that you're here because she married your dad. And let's not say even until this day we are introduced as just stepkids. So it lets you know they are full grown now. All of them are grown, and yet still she got that animosity towards them. This evil woman. Oh, wait, let me see. Yeah, even to this day we're introduced as stepkids. Okay, this evil woman told the church that her and my dad only have two children and seven stepchildren. Well, that ain't true right there. I count nine. Okay, I guess the two children are the ones that she had bringing into the marriage, and the seven so-called stepchildren were his. But they have his blood running through their veins. So how could they be just stepkids? And he can take on her two kids as if they were as if they were his own. So that's off right there. And she also going to say it's shameful. My dad's wife told my children they are just stepchildren, so we treat her as such. And somebody tell me what does the grandkids have to do with this animosity? That's some low down dirty stuff to tell some kids that I'm just a step grandmother,
Mhm.
all because you have an issue with the daughter. Those kids are innocent. They have nothing to do with that. So what? So I hope y'all see. Like I said, I'm not. This is a real life situation here, and there's no telling how many people that have experienced this.
Mhm.
And so, and as you can see, the mother have a problem with the daughter. Now the daughter have kids. Now the kids got to suffer. They in their crosshairs. They ain't do nothing. So that makes no sense. But it's supposed to be a saved, sanctified woman. But we'll get in that later on. Yeah, but I'll let you take it over. You get your thoughts on what you've seen so far.
Yeah, it seems like from I've seen situations like that, and it seems like a lot of people that have an issue with coming into going into a marriage where there are children that's already present. And it's almost like they take it out on the children as if they don't want to accept that the father or the mother have been with somebody before them and had a relationship with them. And, so it's almost like they take that out on the children. And it seems like a lot of it stems from selfishness. We had a case up here not too long ago. I was reading in the news. There was a nurse here in Tennessee who was arrested because she was sending sanitary napkins to
Hmm.
her uh, husband's ex-wife. And you know, she was a nurse, in fact, and she was getting those sanitary napkins from the hospital, from you know people who were actually in the hospital. And I thought, you know, it's crazy. You go to school for 4 years, or however long, to be an RN, and only to turn around and throw your career away because you can't get over your husband having been married to, you know, his previous wife, and then them having children. And it seemed a lot of it seemed like a lot of it stemmed from this idea that her husband was having to pay child support, which I don't think he mind. You know, of course, those are his children. But I
Yeah.
think it was just the fact that she probably felt like you're taking money from our household, you know. And I think we lost him. All right, so hold on just a second.
About that, I think we lost connection. Give us 1 second.
All right,
Try to get him back on the line.
trying to get back on.
Can you text her? Yeah.
All right, you're gonna have to. But yeah, I would just say I thought it was a shame that she didn't accept the whole package. You know, to me, if she
Hey,
seemed
Pat.
like they dropping my call on the other side there.
Yeah. See, yeah, I think the call dropped.
But anyway, it just seemed like it's a shame that they're not. She's not willing to accept the whole package. That there's a package deal, and so that's my take on it.
Yeah, definitely. That's
All right, I'm back on it now.
okay. All right. Yeah. That is a shame. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's go. Continue on with the next shot. And I said some things, and I said, I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. And then they said, oh, she publicly announces that, but she gets in her feelings when we treat her as just a stepmom. Overheard her telling one of my dad's sisters that she hates us, but that's them Christians that want to have the title but not put in the work. Okay, then she said, oh, she announces that publicly. She publicly announces that she lets it be known that you know those are just seven stepkids wherever she go. Now, just because of that, they don't feel. I guess she don't feel that she's been treated like a real mother, and I wonder why. I mean, you keep telling folks that um, you keep telling them that you don't want them here. The only reason that y'all here is because I married your dad, and they're not treating you as a real mother, and you wonder why. And then they overheard her telling her one of her dad's sisters that she hate us. Now that's something to hear. I know her dad's sister. That's another one supposed to be saved and sanctified. So you got two saved and sanctified folks talking. One saying that she hate those kids. Now keep in mind now that's something for a child to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Where they don't have a voice. What can they really do? And I like to know what did her dad's sister say?
Hmm.
Did she just sweep it under the rug? No, that's not say. I'm bringing this. I'm bringing this out here. I just no, just I just hope this helps someone. That maybe someone out there may be involved with somebody who has kids of their own, and you might be thinking about taking it to the next level, thinking about marriage or whatever. But you want to consider that. You're gonna if she got kids, you need to take them as they're your own. If he got kids, you need to take them on as they're yours. But this woman right here clearly is not doing that. And then to tell your sister-in-law that you hate her nieces and nephews, man, some foul there. And you claim to be a woman of God, and you acting like this. And this next line says, but that's them Christians that want to have the title but not put the work in. If y'all was tuned in last week, you heard the first caller said for a while he didn't want to be a Christian. Why? Because of nonsense like this. When people see your so-called Christians, acting like this, saying just downright evil, just downright a black heart, and you say you saved and sanctified, and whatever, and you acting like this, that turns people off. And I'm hearing people over and over saying, "I'm not a Christian." Now, like I said last week, I'm not a Christian. I'm no longer a Christian. Now they're not saying that they don't believe in God. They fear God. They believe in Jesus. They believe in that word, but they don't want that title of Christian because of this nonsense right here. So uh, I'll let you take it over here.
Yeah, my response, with something like that, talking to the people who may be the target of this kind of situation or might see this situation playing out, my response would be don't allow what other people are doing to sway you from being who God might want you to be. That would be my response to that. I think it's a shame because there are a lot of people who are going to answer to God. The Bible tells us, "Woe to them who cause one of these little ones to stumble." And I think that's the danger of that. The fact of the matter is, a lot of people have hatred in their hearts, and you have to have a lot of hatred and bitterness in your heart to speak against children and to especially to uh, speak against children, especially the children of somebody who you're supposed to be married to. And then, of course, my question also in this matter is what was the father doing while this was going on, while these things,
Mm,
because it just seemed like uh, that would be something that he would try to squash or try to straighten up. And my suggestion, just like what you were saying to anybody that's wanting to get married, that's wanting to be married, if you already have children or you're going to marry someone with children, my suggestion would be to get all of that out of the way before you say I do. Make sure that the person that you're marrying is going to love your children the way that you love them. So that because what can happen down the road, the children can become, like in this situation, the children can become bitter against the father for not
mm-hmm.
speaking up for them and for not taking up for them. And to me, that's what the shame is. It's like everybody suffers in that situation. So my suggestion would be that people have conversations and talk about it. Watch how they treat your children before you walk down the aisle with them, and make sure that they're gonna love on your children the way you do. And because it also can create some friction in the marriage where you have the spouse who's marrying into the family, where there's a maybe a father with children already or a mother that already has children. And if that spouse who has the children already see that their children are being mistreated, then it triggers them to go overboard to kind of make up for that mistreatment, to kind of settle things. If they don't have
Mm-hmm.
that conversation and get that settled, then the parent that whose biological children who have the biological children, they could be tempted to try to go out of their way. I guess you could say to spoil their children, to make sure that they're being treated right, at least by one of the parents. and which in turn would trigger the other parent to continue to despise the children because they'll see that their spouse is going overboard with that. So to me, it makes everything imbalanced, and I think that definitely it's a discussion that people need to have. And I for one, I feel like there are. It's strange to me, but there are some people who just don't like children.
Hmm.
You know, it's just,
Yeah.
that's the generation that we're living in now, brother Harold. Where when we were growing up, everybody was your mama and everybody was your daddy, and if you got out of line, and on your way home, you see folks coming out of their house with the switch to get you on your way home, and you were going home to get whipped by your own parents. So the whole neighborhood and the whole side of town was raising their children all together. But now, it just seemed like everything then turned around, and to me, it has set up the situation what we're talking about today, where there really is a bitterness towards children, and I think it's a shame that adults can get in, can discourage children in that manner.
Yeah, that is a shame. I would like to know. Okay, I'd like to know how that conversation went down, and he clearly all seven of them kids wasn't with him in the beginning, and and I just wonder how the conversation was. Maybe he told, look, I'm gonna try to get custody of my kids and bring them down here. That she should could probably could say right then and there, okay, well, if you bring all the kids down here, I'm gonna leave you.
Mhm.
I mean that I want to know, okay, what you marrying for? Why did you even marry him?
Mhm.
Two, um, hmm, why did you marry and why did you stay?
Mhm.
Now, okay, the kids here, ain't no need to be no bad mouthing them,
Mhm.
and got the nerve. I don't know about. Hold on, I'm jumping the gun. Yeah, and okay, here we go. This part here, absolutely. They also said it's very shameful. Wanna wanna scream and shout. Then on the way home, tell us we're an issue. We didn't ask to be born, and we doggone sure as heck didn't ask to go live with them. In my hold on, yeah, in my honest opinion, the saddest part is that my dad allows it. He doesn't stand up for us, never have, and I doubt he ever will. He stopped talking to my children because of her. They saw my oldest son on the red carpet and wanted to claim him. But nope, we shut that crap down fast. Don't claim them because they're doing good. Let's break this down here. Okay, absolutely. It's very shameful. Okay, wanna scream and shout. Then on the way home tell us we're an issue. That mean they in that means she up there praising the Lord in church. Done got happy. Shouting. Sure, maybe got a good fancy footwork going. Maybe a couple of sisters got to contain her because she getting so happy, don't want her to fall down and bump into nobody else, I guess. So she in the church, screaming and shouting, carrying on. Then after church let out, on the way home, she done lost her joy, telling them that they're an issue. And I'll tell you that's a terrible feeling. You just come out of church having a good time. You done had a good praise and worship service. You don't heard a good word. You on that high, and then when you get outside the four walls, bam, you get hit with this nonsense, or telling us we're an issue.
Mhm.
And then not only that, she just and had the nerve. I guess she picked on them girls a lot. They were like five girls, two boys, and got the nerve to tell them that y'all still ugly, even after church is let out. To tell them that y'all still ugly, really.
mm,
Now that, that's your missionary for you.
mm,
Just saved, sanctified. That's what go. That's what passes for saved and sanctified, I guess. And that kind of nonsense will make people not want to be a Christian. Now they watching this woman shout every Sunday, and then when the church get out, she ragging them all the way home. And then she said, "Okay, we didn't ask to be born, and we doggone sure as heck didn't ask to go live with them." So the father got so it sounded like a custody thing there. So the father got custody of the kids and got them, to come down and live with them. They had no say in the matter. Now this toughest part here is that, in my honest opinion, the saddest part is that my dad allows it. He doesn't stand up for us, never have, and I doubt he ever will. So that's okay. He never have, and I doubt he ever will. So they are still getting attacked. All well, let's make it nine, but we go focus on these seven. All seven of them are grown now. So they and now she said now he never have, and I thought he ever will. So he's still allowing that to happen. He allowed it when they was growing up. Clearly, she's still taking shots at them, even though and they are fully grown. He's doing nothing about it.
mm,
Now he say he stopped talking to my children, his grandchildren, because of her. They saw my oldest son on the red carpet and wanted to claim him, but no, we shut that crap down fast. Don't claim them because they're doing good. Now this one is one of seven, and it's I'll tell you, it's just amazing to me. Okay, now the kids can really have a good relationship with their grandfather now,
mm,
which is crazy. Now, and what I like about all this here, she's in a blended family too. I think her husband had a had a son when they met, and she had a son when they met, and they are they're showing what a blended family supposed to look like, just like what you were saying, Pastor Bowman. You and your wife, you had kids, she had kids, and y'all didn't treat, you accepted hers, and she accepted yours. The same thing what she done. So to me, look like they broke that cycle.
mm,
So that goes to show y'all that because you grew up in a rough situation, you ain't got to carry that on to the next generation.
mm,
So that cycle was shut down,
mm,
no, right there. And as far as her kids, and I tell you, they ugly. Okay, whatever. She married. She been married about almost 10 years now. And not only that, let me tell you how ugly she is. Let them, they got together. They had two more boys. They been told they no man gonna want you. Hey, he can't keep his hands off of her. So they had two more. Um, and then let me tell you, her kids, those three, yeah, they are models and actors. And so it's amazing how God do things. Now the person you looking down on, you think nothing of. Now she done up and flourish. Got. I mean, they none of them ugly.
mm.
So so ugly person ain't gonna produce no models. They all three of them are models. They are all models. They are actors. They have auditions to like crazy. So they are. It's amazing how God is blessing them right there in their face. I guess that's what it means when he said set a table when the president looking at him. I guess that's what that means. They just blessed all over despite what's going on. So let me take it from here. That's something to tell somebody. You're coming out to church and you getting fussed. They've been putting them down for your looks. As a matter of fact, all the daughters they got kids. Some of them married. So except for one, she didn't want any. But guess what? She got married. She's married, and I think the man she married had two. Yeah, had two kids, and they crazy about her. That's
Mhm.
another example of a good blended family. Even though she didn't want no kids of her own, hey, but she's a mother now
Mhm.
with no two kids. But I I don't know, man. I'll, I'll let you shed some light on this here.
Yeah, I think in this particular situation, my only prayer is that the the uh, the children that were mistreated in his family, that they won't take that to heart. Sometimes the devil uses people, no matter how they're going to church, uh, how they shouting. Of course, you and I know, we grew up in that hometown there, and we know how people can be. They can be one way in church and be another way at home. And so my prayer is that they don't take that to heart, because sometimes, I mean, Brother Harry, it's very real. The devil will use people, and it's unfortunate because how else can you explain that kind of behavior? You know,
Oh yeah.
even let's say for instance, even if your preference, even if you didn't want stepchildren, even if you didn't want them around, you don't have to say anything to them. You don't have to mistreat them.
Mhm.
And so to me, I just think, honestly, I just think it was a spirit that was probably trying to set them up to be unsuccessful, when they would marry and maybe, being in a, just like you said, a blended family themselves, And so I'm glad that they are successful in that. And maybe, honestly, it could have been to prepare them for what they were about to go through. Maybe to
Oh
help
yeah.
them to be a better blended family. Sometimes, in a weird way, Brother Harold, the Lord gets us, causes us to be in situations to prepare us for what He has for us down the road. And so maybe by them being mistreated, I'm just trying to find the silver lining in it or the blessing in it. Maybe by them being mistreated when they were growing up, the Lord Himself was preparing them so that they would know how not to be, and they would know, the heart of what a stepchild would feel, in
Mhm.
in that type of situation. So, in the long run, it worked out for their good. I think, I'm sure that they didn't like the mistreatment, but look at the fruit of their own lives and how they were able to be successful in getting into blended family themselves. You see.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like I said, the roughest part for this one was, the dad didn't do anything.
Mhm.
Just allow it to go on.
Yeah,
And the good question is, why?
yeah,
I could have a theory. I could say, okay, I understand the man might want peace in his home, but then also a part of me thinking, okay, man, I guess he's trying to just, I guess, I guess he wants some action. Make sure he don't make a mess so he can get some action later on that night. I guess that's the
yeah,
only reason.
yeah. That's what it's got to be because I don't understand how, especially a man can allow somebody to mistreat his own flesh and blood. I couldn't see myself going along with that at all. So it the lady, whoever this must be a terror.
Mm,
Very difficult to deal with. You
no,
know.
no.
Yeah. But I'm glad that the children, that the young adults now, that they turned out to be okay, or doing well for themselves, and were able to successfully move into a blended family themselves, and know how to treat the children, from on both sides and things like that. So at least that's the good that come out of that. That's the good that come out of that. But it can definitely, what I find, Brother Harold, is some people just aren't happy.
Oh
And
no.
honestly, if they're not happy with themselves and they don't like their own life, then they ain't gonna like what you got going on either. And that comes out in different ways. And unfortunately, the innocent children sometimes have to suffer in that unhappy environment. But again, I say, what was their father doing? Why wasn't he taking a stand for those children? You know, I just think it's a shame that it got to that point. And my prayers is that those young adults now that they would have peace in their hearts and not let it go and not hold on to it if they are still holding on to it, but just not hold on to it. The Bible tells us, just spiritually speaking, for we wrestle, for us to put on the whole armor of God. It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. And so my prayers is that they will see this spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
That what else can it? It's got to be. I can't. I just can't see an adult just hating children, and it's got to be a spirit behind that. And my prayers is that they will see that spiritually, that they won't allow that to get to them. And that they will forgive that lady and just realize what's going on really behind the scenes there.
Yeah, yeah, it's a strong one too. I tell you, man. I mean, that's I can only imagine dealing with that. That A town. Yeah, you can unmute your mic and let us know what you got to say here.
Yes, sir. How y'all brothers doing tonight?
Doing all right.
Yeah. I was listening to what y'all was talking about, right? On the issue,
Yeah.
right? Um, like, could it be the root of it? Like, because when people learn the word stepchild, right? Right? Take the word stepchild, right?
Mm-hmm.
On 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 what they was taught about that word, could it be is that they are following that, like, um, because like stepchild is like, I mean, just think about it, like a stepchild, and think about the perspective that people get from that word. Get what I'm saying? So, on what people have been, taught over. I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying like, on what they get from like the word stepchild, and just think about how over the years how people acted with stepchildren. You know what I'm saying? So, does is the root deeper than that? Like, where we learn this from? Like, you know what I mean? Like, when people have stepchildren and they're in a relationship with stepchildren, right? Are they so concerned about what people think about them having stepchildren? You get what I'm saying? On what they have been taught about the stepchild word. Is that Do that make sense, or am I going? Just, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You was taught this word, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So how people think about it, like, say, I mean, let me make an example, like, oh, he done got this woman with kids or whatever, right? I wouldn't be taking care of them kids. You get what I'm saying on what's been learned about it. Am I making sense now?
Yeah. 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 I guess you put that term on stepchild. I guess people like that's not really your kid. That's
Yes, yes.
when people hear that word stepchild, they're like, no, that's not really my child. Um, just like
So is
this
every
example, this lady
okay? Go ahead,
was
go
treating her 7 kids. They're not
ahead.
they're not from me. I guess it's people individuals perspective on it. You know,
Yeah.
now like I
So,
said, some people
so
they will accept the child as their own. Then there's
mhm.
some that's like this one here that they don't want nothing to do with it. So I guess the word stepchild, I guess stepmother, stepfather, I guess that kind of lessens it when you use that word step because
That's what I'm saying. So
it
what? That's the root.
it ain't the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
So,
that that's
so
that's
do you think words are
that's kind
spells?
of what I you know um put into it. That 'cause you just like you're just stepkids. You ain't just it's not the
Hmm.
real deal. My blood and you ain't come from me. My
Hmm.
blood is not running through your veins. And so you use that word step
Yes.
kid, step this. So that kind of lessens the relationship, the bond. That kind of takes away
Yes.
from the there's
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
not that much love there when you use that word.
Hmm.
Step,
So where did that
step,
root? Where did that root
step,
come from?
step
Where
son.
we learn
So it
that
just
root from? You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
What did that? If that root
Yeah.
or that word caused this, and it caused the whole world, majority of the world, because I know the Bible say that the
mm,
narrow that
Yeah, I think it's
the
definitely a
road is
term that need to be done away with,
okay. So
because to
that's what
me,
I'm.
once you get married and you become one with your spouse, you've accepted their children, and you've accepted, um, uh, the responsibilities of
Hmm.
of those children. I know my wife and
mm,
I, when we got married, um, our children were in our wedding, and I don't mean they marched down the aisle. I mean they had their own vows to make to this family, and because we wanted to make it clear that we were one solid family unit, and so we understood, and I think that's something that people need to understand when they're marrying someone with children. That you're not just marrying the father, or you're not just marrying the mother. You're taking on the responsibility of the family. And so when my wife and I, of course, we're the ones that got married, but we understood that our vows were bigger than our union as husband and wife. We each had children, and our children took part in our wedding, where they had their own vows and how we basically blended it that way, where we felt like, hey, we can't just get married and just bump the children. Y'all just on the side holding y'all little flowers. Y'all are a part of this, So we included them, and they each had their own vows that they read and how they were going to contribute to the family, and basically accepting this family unit because we wanted to make it clear to them that we loved them all and that we cared about them, and they were just as much a part of our coming together as we were. And that's the way the Lord had us to do it. So that would be my suggestion as well. That the children are made to feel like they're part of the family. Especially, and here was another thing I want to say about the blended family. When the mama or the daddy have been single for a while, then what happens a lot of times is that parent that have the children, they're putting a lot of their time, they're giving a lot of their time to their children while they're single. Like a lot of attention, which nothing wrong with that. But what can happen when that parent get married, then that child can feel like that parent have come, that the I guess you could say stepmother or whatever, that the one that the father or the mother have married, they're coming and taking some of my time away. So
mm,
that's why I think it's important that people have talks, that they sit down so that the children, especially depending on how young they are, you know, that they sit down and they talk about that. Like, look, we're getting married. I'm not trying to, I'm not, they're not replacing you. And that was one of the things also that my wife uh, pointed out to my children, of course, because their mother is still living. And so she told them, I'm not trying to take the place of your mother. I'm not trying to replace your mother. But I do want to be a mother to you. So, and she made that clear, I'm not trying to replace your mother. I'm not trying to compete with your but I do love your dad, and I do want to be a mother to you. And so she made that clear, and I think that's very important, because of course you got the other side of it where as well, where you can have the ex, you know,
mm,
putting some input in there as well, if that make any sense, and sowing seed. But I think that is important that when two people get married, that they hash all of that out, because to me, you're gonna already have enough issues blending them together, and I think it's important to head that off so that the enemy don't come in and cause friction between the two married people, and between the children and things like that. Because I'm telling you, it can get really really ugly especially
Hmm.
when the children see one set of children being treated better than they have been treated,
Oh yeah.
and so I was thinking about that. I remember when I was in high school there, Elvis Presley's brother came to the high school to talk, and his mother had married Elvis Presley's dad, and he talked about how they were in an orphanage, and because their mother wasn't doing very well, of course, when they were little, and so at some point she got married to Elvis Presley's dad, and he said that one day his mother came, a long limo pulled up, and the mother came to get them out of the orphanage, and said
Hmm.
that they got in a limo and went to his house and Elvis Presley was in the backyard with the dad, and had bought them both, I think, some bikes and some little ponies and things like that, and had accepted them. And he talked about how much that meant to him, that they didn't know what rock and roll was. They didn't know his stature in the music industry, but they were just
Hmm.
glad to be treated well, coming out of an orphanage like that. And that's another thing I think, parents have to consider that, divorce, when you're talking about uh, blended families, I don't think people realize just how much their biological parents separating or not being together can disturb them. I think every child wants to see their own biological blood parents together, and so I think that that's something um, that the parents who are going to get married have to think about, that children are traumatized too. Some of them more than others, especially depending on how old they were when the parents separated or whatever the case is. But I think all of that have to be taken into consideration. That you can't just say, well, you know what, I'm grown. I met this person. I'm going to marry them. I don't care what you say, whatever. Hey, you're grown. You can do what you want to do, but you have to use wisdom as well. Don't just leave the children out in the cold, because they're affected by who you marry and what kind of spirit that person brings into the family unit. So I think those are some things to consider.
Oh yeah, more definitely. Hey Tony, you got anything else to add to that?
Yes. So I mean, like, with all this going on with the kids and the step kids, do you think it can be a turnaround? Like, because obviously the world is going into a tailspin as we see. I mean, then the Bible says that the broad way to hell is broad, of course, and the narrow way is to heaven. So, um, everybody's falling in the world now. Like, not everybody. Like I said, the narrow way is, you understand what I'm saying. So I'm saying, like,
Hmm.
the broad way is broad, real broad now. You get what I'm saying? So I'm saying the influence of the world, will it change? Will it change now for the better for for the kids?
Hmm.
No. Hmm. Well, all I know is I know on an individual basis, like this person here, they broke that cycle. Even though
Hmm.
they were in a blended family, things wasn't going so well. You know, I think a couple of them they got married. Yeah, they even though it didn't go too well, that didn't mess up their marriage. That didn't mess up their future. They didn't mess up things with their
Hmm.
spouse. Despite how nasty they were treated, that didn't that didn't affect them. And I want to get to this part here, if y'all don't mind. If I got a little time here, let me see. Okay, yeah, I comment on. I said, wow, this me speaking to him. I said, yeah, I've seen that and kind of sensed it. Well, hopefully you all don't let that burn you down. You all seem to be doing well despite all that. And they replied, oh yeah, it took a while for me to get over my dad allowing it. But I started focusing that energy on my little family, and God has truly blessed us, and is still blessing us. So that right there shows you, you know, despite what the world is doing, you can break that cycle. You know, just because you got mistreated, that don't mean you got to dog out your kids either. And then and this is one more thing that they sent me. They gave me the okay to share. They said, she said to me that this is sad, but I used to pray and ask God to let me get kidnapped so I can get away from there. I didn't want to get hurt in the process or anything like that, but I wanted out of that home so bad. That's why I didn't wait for college. Graduated in May, and by August I was off to the military and never looked back. At one point, I just knew my dad loved us, only because he was the quote provider, not because he ever told us so. So it was so bad over there until that she was praying to God to get kidnapped. And now that's a sad thing to see. That's a sad thing to know. At that young age, praying that somebody just break in the house and then take her,
Hmm.
get away from there.
Hmm.
Again, saved, sanctified, call herself a woman of God, and and you got a child praying to God to get kidnapped,
God, God.
and then and it seemed like the father was no, and yeah, he knew what was going on, but just didn't do anything about it. So as I said, I don't, and if you ask her, and you see, yeah, she did talk to the, I guess you talked to her, they was, those seven were the troublemakers.
Hmm.
According to her, and she talked to her church friend,
What is
and I
doing?
guess they had them thinking, oh yeah, they don't love
Because
me,
I'm
they
on it.
disrespect. I wonder why.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so bad. You got the girl praying that somebody come and kidnap her and get out of there. But you got everybody thinking that, oh, you just a good mother to them. You providing a good life for them.
Hmm.
Those seven, they just being so unruly and so disrespectful. Uh, okay, so that's
Hmm.
so I hope y'all hope y'all see this and see what not to do. See how you can overcome.
Hmm.
All seven of them, they got families of their own. They're doing well, and even her too. But y'all see this prime example. And like I said, I know I might chuckle when I say, I come up with, I see a scenario and say, oh yeah, that's a believer. That's a
Hmm.
saved, sanctified person. Y'all seeing the example right here.
Hmm.
So this stuff really goes on. I'm in music. I like to create stuff, but I'm not that creative. I can't make this up. I'm not that creative.
Hmm.
So y'all see it with your own eyes. This stuff is going on, and this lady still got a problem with them, even though they full grown now. So
God.
I don't
I
get it,
don't
man.
understand.
Oh yeah,
And you know,
and
speak,
before we
speak.
get over,
Okay, good.
how about this here? Do we have to? Is it all right? Well, I know me personally. If you speaking death over my life, I don't want you around me. I'm gonna do all I can to avoid you. Now, like I said, now if I'm wrong, I need to change my way of thinking. But is that a problem? Is a person wrong? Knowing, staying away from certain family members because you know good and well when you come around them, it's gonna be an attack. They're gonna assassinate your character. I
Hmm.
mean, I I mean, it's no, we ain't saying no loving from a but with a long wood sticking up like that. But I mean, me personally, I just stay away from me. I know the world ain't gonna love me, that's fine and dandy. But if all you want to do is speak death over me, and I'm not talking about physical death, man, just get out of my face. You could tell me, don't come around me no more. Your wish is granted. I will grant you your wish. Just leave me alone. How Ricky Smiley said is, leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm good. So I'll let you take it from here. Have final words.
Can I have one last word?
Yeah.
Can I have one last word?
Time it in, sir.
Okay. All right, you brother have a good night.
You go ahead, Pastor Boy.
All right. Yeah, me personally, I don't see anything wrong with staying away from that kind of environment and that kind of situation. You know, especially when it's unhealthy. You know, and I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, my oldest son, I would bring him with me to a household when he was a little boy, and I knew that the situation in the house wasn't right. And I remember when I would go there, he looked like he wanted to cry. He didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, but I did. But it bothered him, you know. And when I saw that, I vowed I'll never bring him around this situation again. And so, you know, that kind of thing, it affects people. It affects their spirit, especially young children and things like that. So that's my answer to that question is you don't have to go anywhere where you're not welcome. You know, you don't have to go anywhere where you're not welcome. And so my only advice to the family, to the young children, the children that were mistreated, is just pray for her. Pray for her. Let the Lord open up her eyes and give her an understanding. You know, you pray for her, it might change her heart. You know, prayer still works. So that's my advice.
All right. Well, once again, we appreciate y'all for tuning in to the Raw Spiel. We go to, I guess next week, Lord bless you, the same. We will wrap the series up. We're gonna touch on the in-laws. I had a feeling we won't be able to get into it today, but we're gonna speak on how the in-laws can influence families and cause feuds there. And then appreciate you want to give them your website, how they can contact the ministry.
All right. The website is www.onetruth.tv. That's www.1truth.tv. All information, all our contact information is on there. So thank you.
All right. Well, once again, y'all, we appreciate everybody for tuning in to the Raw Spiel. We hope something that was said that'll really help y'all along the way. And till next time, God bless y'all. Have a good weekend, and we'll I guess we see you. We see you next time, and y'all have a good one out there.